Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, The Scream Season. We are here today to have a first reaction of the Final Destination Bloodlines trailer, and I am so excited because I love this franchise. But first things first. So obviously, Final Destination, the films are iconic in the horror franchise. And I love them because they're not a slasher. It's not a guy in a mask or anything. But they do a really good job of taking that one thing that you might be a bit fearful of and making you terrified of it. And I mean, millennials, we grew up with it. Every time I get on an airplane, every time I walk onto one, I try not to think about it, but I do have flashes in my head of the opening scene. The second one, anytime I'm driving on a highway and I see a truck with logs, hell no, I'm staying as far back and moving to the other side of the highway to get away from that. And anytime I go on a roller coaster, I have a moment where I think, oh my God, what if? They're just really good at taking that thought of what if this happened and making it happen in the worst way possible. And fun fact, I have actually been on the roller coaster that they filmed the third one on, the Devil's roller coaster. So it was when I was living in Vancouver a couple of years back, and it was at Playland. And it's a red roller coaster, very fast, very amazing. Unfortunately, it wasn't the Devil's theme that was all set up for the movie, but it was awesome, and I was terrified, but I went on it about 5 times. It's like that guilty pleasure thing that, you know, even though you've seen the movie and, you know, that bad things happen, you've just got to try it. So that was really fun, and I was having a lot of fun explaining to the people I lived with, like, why this roller coaster was iconic. And to them, it was nothing. It was the local theme park roller coaster. It was nothing crazy. I've obviously seen the other Final Destinations 4, 5, and 6. I believe it finished at 6. Or I finished it at 6. I love the original 3. I think they're really well done. Had kind of everything. Great storyline, great acting, great deaths. The deaths weren't realistic, but they were in a sense. But I feel as we got to Final Destination 4, 5, and 6, things got a little bit stupid. They kind of became like you B horror, a guilty pleasure for sure. So I've watched them maybe once or twice through, but wouldn't go back and watch too many. It's not a rewatch, whereas the first 3 I definitely rewatch a lot from time to time. I do like in the 6th one, it kind of, at the very end, came back full circle to when they're on the flight. That was a really cool moment for everyone who's followed the franchise. I'm like, what? Oh my God. So yeah, let's get through watching this first trailer. I know a little bit. I've seen a still of Tony Todd's character come back, and I'm very excited that he came back. It's amazing that he came back before he sadly passed away, and while obviously he does look very thin and gaunt in the still that I saw, we get him back, and that's the main thing. It's a bit sad to see him in that way because that's not how we really remember him, but we got him while he was here, so that's great. Alrighty, here we go.
Something's got a hold on me here. I must be the
Drinks all around.
said, oh, 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 oh. Something's got a hold on me here.
Family, you don't get to pick the one you get. Just gotta love the one you got.
I always knew this day would come.
I got it.
I don't think you got it.
I held him off for years.
Charlie, get up here.
He's a relentless son of a bitch. Won't stop till he finishes the job. Death is coming for our family.
I said, oh, 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 oh.
Grandma, what's happening to us?
Years ago, I had a premonition that started it all. I saw what death was about to do. I saved a lot of lives that night.
Everyone needs to get off the dance floor!
Lives that were never meant to be saved. But death doesn't like it when you mess with his plans. This book, it will show you everything you need to know to keep our family safe.
It all started with Grandma. Death is coming for us because we were never supposed to exist. Watch out!
Only by embracing death will it pass you by.
Maybe death's not actually coming for our family. Because that would be crazy.
Good luck.
Holy f***, I'm so excited. This looks so good. That looks really fun. Again, it looks like the original. It looks good budget, good writing, good acting, everything about it. Very well thought out sequences. The opening where they're at the barbecue, every single time it showed you something. The suspense. I think the suspense is back. And that was so great. Tony Todd was great. It's the voice for me. His voice is so iconic. And it brings a lot of, like, wisdom to it. It's the equivalent of, Donald Pleasant's character, Loomis, in Halloween. It kind of grounds the film when he's in it. The Seattle Space Needle, I think that was obviously the Seattle Space Needle, that is crazy, and I've actually been up there twice, and I don't love heights. When I was up there, it wasn't as high as I thought it was, but I definitely stayed away from the edge, so that whole sequence looked really cool, and I like that they're going back and kind of explaining it a little bit. I do hope that when they explain it, it also doesn't take away from some of it. It's kind of like in the remake of Halloween where Rob Zombie kind of gave Michael, an identity and kind of gave him a reason of why he was so evil with his childhood. I personally didn't really like that because I wanted to keep Michael as this, like, dark creature that was just evil and we didn't explain it away. So I hope when they go back, they give you a bit of a backstory, but they don't go fully into it. I'm so excited. This makes me really excited for the future of horror films if we're getting these things greenlit. And we've got some throwbacks, the guy at the very end stepping out, like that bus who hit Terry. I love when movies, whether it's a remake or not a sequel, what do? They kind of remake it, but it's the same thing. Halloween 2018, Scream 2022. I love when they kind of throw in a few Easter eggs for the fans and it's a nice little throwback, but it's not super obvious. And the fans of the films will understand and new fans will just think, oh, that's a good kill. That was so excited. I have to watch it again. I have to show my boyfriend because I think he will love it. I'm excited because the Final Destination films aren't about reality. They're so far removed from what could ever happen. But it's that little voice in the back of your head that's, what if? What if that happened? What if that happened? And you don't, it comes in and then you swat it away really, really quickly. But this is a guilty pleasure movie, because it shows you what if. Like, what if this would have happened? And it shows you the most horrific thing you could think of. And so, it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I completely get that. Like I said, the first 3 in the original franchise were amazing. The last few, for me, something to be desired. It just turned into a money-making franchise, I think. And they were fun, but they were definitely in their own realm, I would say. Kind of like the Scream, the Saw films as well. But this looks exciting, and this is the type of film that they're bringing back the, like, hardcoreness of the original 3 films. This film looks like it has some really good acting in it. They all look pretty unknown actors to me, so I think we'll see them in other projects going along. And I mean, Final Destination started so many people's career. The one I think of the most is Mary Elizabeth Winstead from number 3. I think she was amazing. Loved her in Sky High as well, but I think that film really catapulted her into having such a big career that she had in the like mid 2000s to the 2010s, and I think this film will probably do the same for these actors. And they've got a really nice age of cast. I mean, there's younger people there to mid, and then we've got older, you know, Tony Todd. I'm also happy that this film is kind of going back and we're getting some of the lore, if you will, of how death came to be, because it's never really touched on in the other films. Obviously, you could say death just is, you know, there's not a rhyme or a reason, it just exists. But I think that they're going back and adding that extra layer in might be something fun and different and something that they never touched on in the original franchise. So I think that will be an interesting take on things. Even in the first one, you know, Tony Todd's character lays it out really easily. Yeah, death is all around you. Death is going to come when it's your time, and no one knows when their time is, which is terrifying if you think of it. And this is why this franchise is so amazing, because everyone's had that thought. You see something on the news and you see a young 23-year-old gets killed, and you think, oh my God, they were so young. Why? And if you start thinking about it too much, it's horrible and we shouldn't go there. But these films do touch on that, and that fear that kind of everyone has but no one talks about, because I mean, there is no rhyme and reason. I also loved in this, when she shows the book and you can see obviously the truck from number 2 and the flight and their Easter eggs. But I also feel like it's probably going to be something along the lines of this grandma who saved everyone at that dance back in it looks like the 60s, was obviously seeing these accidents, and maybe back, you know, when these were happening, were seeing the names of people who died and then connecting the dots that they were also related to the people she saved at that dance, because she says, I saved a lot of people that night. And so this grandma has probably been waiting for 25 years for death to come around and get her again. So, I mean, she's probably a bit cuckoo at this point, living all these years, just waiting and not being able to tell anyone in her family, because who would believe you without any proof? Like having your husband or your son's head taken off by a mower. So that's a really nice element that I think they might go and take that angle. Also, let me know if you'd liked my personal ranking of the Final Destination films. I'm pretty sure... Well, I haven't really given it away. I told you I loved the first 3 and the other 2 or 3 are a bit meh. But you don't know my ranking. So if you wanted to hear that, pop it in the comment and I will definitely make a video about it. And I want to hear your ranking on the films and what traumatized you the most. I think most of us can probably agree it's the logs in the truck, because you drive on a daily basis, pretty much. You don't always get a flight and you don't always get on a roller coaster, but you're pretty much driving every day. But let me know what traumatized you the most when you saw this and what still freaks you out today. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you want to hear more. Thanks. Bye. The rains are here.